Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do an introduction to dark romance and the books I think you should read if you are newer to the category. I know a lot of people are starting their journey with dark romance. I've been on mine for quite a few years now, and I know a lot of you always say to me, Mills, where should I start? Now, it's very important to understand there are quite a few different subgenres of dark romance. You have dark romance, but I also count taboo in the dark romance category. And some people may agree with me on that, some people may not. This is just the way that I kind of see dark romance sitting. So with the dark romance side, you can get things like trauma, mafia, I guess just like true darkness. And then obviously on the taboo side, they explore more of the kinks and the spicy, what you just wouldn't expect in public, like age gap trope definitely gets explored a lot on taboo, or why choose, or like praise kinks, anything in that kind of category. So I'm going to dive into a few different ones and I'll let you know if I think it sits more in the dark romance category or if it sits more in the taboo category. But yeah, I think this is the best place to start if I was you. I'm going to try and pick a good few in case you've read some of them, and you will start to realise there's certain types of dark romance you like to read, like with any genre, as you work your way through it. Like there are definitely the pitch black, which I avoid and probably will never do a video on because they terrify me. But you also have things like horror, so I'll definitely do like a beginners, intermediate and advanced. I might just not be the best at reading the advanced ones when it comes to pitch black. I'm a big scaredy cat, so let's dive in. So when you think about dark romance, a lot of people talk about the stalker trope. Now, Haunting and Hunting Adeline are definitely where I started my journey, but if I went back again, I would actually start with the Possessing Her duology from Morgan Bridges. You have Once You're Mine and Now You're Mine. And personally, I just think these ease you into the category. They don't go as far into some of the pitch black topics. So you meet the main character. She is called, I can't remember her name, Callista. I was like, it's been a while since I read these. Callista. Her father is on trial for unaliving his secretary. So supposedly he's killed his secretary and he's on trial for it. And he gets a not guilty verdict. But somebody is not happy about that, removes her father from the world and starts to stalk her, which is great. So you get her, which is the target, and he is called the Tormentor. So you have the first book in the series. I do also have to say they have really pretty artwork in them. So that kind of eases you in, and then obviously you go a little bit deeper into the stalker trope. It's nice to have a duology, you're not committing to a full series, and I do just think these are they're still fully in the dark romance category, still fully focused on stalkers, but just a little bit more palatable than maybe Haunting and Hunting and Adeline is for some people, because that one does get very dark in the second book, and I know a lot of people DNF it. This one, it just kind of follows the trope. It doesn't necessarily get darker in the second book, and I actually really like Morgan Bridges for some of her dark romance. So yeah, definitely would recommend these if you want to try out the stalker trope. Then we have probably one of my favourite taboo series out there. This is the Salacious Players Club series. There's 6 books in this series by Sarah Kate. They're all set within a sex club. Some people are workers in the club, some people own the club, some people are related to people in the club. Like there is a whole load of everything. The first book is called Praise, and it follows a age gap taboo praise kink. Like you get every single thing in this book. It is her ex-boyfriend's dad who owns the sex club, and she becomes his secretary, and he teaches her about kinks and about how to explore kinks in a safe way. This is so good. This is always where I'd recommend people starting with taboo. I think the reason I say this is because you've got 6 books in here. You've got forbidden romance, you've got voyeurism, you've got subdom, you've got praise kink. Am I forgetting anything? I feel like there's just so many tropes explored, and you're going to find out in the kind of taboo setting which one you prefer more. When you want to go more advanced in taboo, I definitely have some more recommendations for you, but I feel like dipping your toe in this pond is a good place to start. And also these are really cheap in a lot of places at the moment, so I know Good Girls Read sell these for a really good price. So in terms of money spent, you're not spending too much on a completed series compared to some of the indie published ones. I think a lot of the ones I will probably end up recommending today will be traditionally published because one, they're a little bit more affordable for you to explore if you like that kind of trope, but also they are more entry level as soon as they're in that category. So yeah, definitely recommend the Salacious Players Club. 6 books in the series. Don't ever get the 5 book bundle because Madame, which is the 6th book in the series, is probably my second favourite after Praise. So yeah, definitely recommend grabbing those. Then the next category I want to talk to you about is dark romance with humour. So I find sometimes when you read a lot of dark romance books, it can be heavy on your soul. I definitely mix it up. I'll read like a romantic suspense or a fantasy in between, because sometimes I could go to quite a dark place in my head because of dark romance books. And there are two main authors that spring to mind when I think of humour. The first is the queen that is Brynne Weaver. Every time I think about this series, it has me chuckling. I think it's about to be adapted for screen. I hope it will happen. So it is a completed trilogy. You've got Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark, and Scythe and Sparrow. This follows three brothers. They are Irish, but they live in America. And each brother is somehow involved with somebody who serial unalives or a serial killer in some way or other. In the first book, I love this one the most because this is Rowan's story, and let me just tell you, him and Sloane both like killing. They just do it. They go into places, they find someone who's truly evil, like a paedophile, a cannibal, you name it, and they remove them from the world. So that's what their job is, to go around and remove the worst of the worst. So they decide, let's make a competition out of it. And the competition is so much fun to read. The way they're breaking into the town, not only do they have to kill someone before someone else kills them, they have to work out who the bad person is. And you have so much fun when you explore this book. I think as well, if you do like this series, I would then recommend moving on to Taurus season, which is the first in her new series. But we haven't obviously got book 2 or 3 in that yet. But yeah, the humour in this is great. I just think it really brings out dark romance. So you start to see tropes explored, but in a bit of a safer environment. So yeah, this is definitely the first one I always think of when I think of dark romance and humour. Then the second author I think of when I think about dark romance and humour is Nevessa Allen. So this is her trilogy. So you have Lights On, I always get this wrong, Caught Up, and Game On. And I honestly love these. The first book has a lot more humour and the second book doesn't. The third book hints at it, but definitely read Lights Out at least. This is about a girl who is a trauma nurse. And in her free time, she scrolls on TikTok or scrolls online looking for masked men. And there's one in particular, she doesn't know it's Josh, but there's one in particular that she likes. And she leaves him some thirsty comments. And he recognises her and starts to stalk her in real life. There's a cat in it as well, which I just love. But the humour is great. When he's stalking her, the things that he thinks in his head with the dual point of view that you get is just so funny. I do think the trigger warning list again is quite long in this book, but you explore it in such a safe way because of the humour. So yeah, I would definitely also recommend this author. So between Brynne Weaver and Nevessa Allen, if you like that humour side, you will definitely find a good choice here. Then in the dark romance category, you have a like slightly subgenre of motorcycle men or men who just one-time chuck women. That's the best way to describe it. I actually think the Soldiers of Bedlam series by Paisley Hope is so good if you're getting into that slightly darker, spicy side. So in Wolf, you have a girl called Brinley. She's going back to this small hometown where she grew up, and she meets the head of the motorcycle team, and Gabriel Wolf is one of the most intense characters I've ever met. He could literally make you cry on the spot with the intensity in his eyes. Like, there's just something when you read him, you are like, whew, that is a man you do not want to cross. And she gets herself in a situation where he kind of maybe wants to be a little bit more involved with her than just a one-time fling. We also have Fox coming out this year in this series. Now, whilst this isn't the darkest one, I think the motorcycle element, the way they are protective over their women, the way they are protective over their land, over their club, over status, I do think it represents what you might see in some of the darker sides of dark romance. And I'm thinking of like Lee Rivers and the way that she writes men. You might see some of that explored in this one. But yeah, Soldiers of Bedlam is really good. I'm really excited for Fox coming out and seeing where the story takes us. They are technically standalones, interconnected in a world as well, which is great. So you're not committing to too much. And again, these are traditionally published. I think everything I've talked about so far has been trad published. Maybe the darker romance that isn't trad published will be on the intermediate and advanced videos. I'm now going to introduce you to a thing called Why Choose. Sometimes it is called reverse harem. I prefer the terminology Why Choose. It's one that I use more comfortably. This is the Madison Kate series by Tate James. There's 4 books in the series. They're all numbered on the spine, so it does make life super easy. And this is a really easy entry level into Why Choose, but there is trauma. And I think you've just got to remember as well, trauma is a subgenre in a lot of dark romance. Like, it is dark for a reason. There are traumatic pasts, there are things that are triggering. So that's the one thing I would say, make sure you always check your trigger warnings. This is about a girl called Madison Kate who has been blamed for this event that's happened, and she's going to seek revenge on the guys who got her in trouble. There's 3 of them. Unfortunately, they are her dad's new girlfriend's children, and they're being moved into her house. So while she's seeking revenge, she also has to deal with them, it living in her space. The way that these books will break you, be prepared for tears. So good though, so good. You then want to read the Hades series after this. There's also a Dark Academia series that does float in more of the dark romance category. But yeah, I do think if you haven't read anything by Tate James yet, the Madison Kate series is a really good place to start and a really good place to explore if you like the kind of polyamorous approach of Why Choose. Now we've reached one of my favourite subgenres in dark romance, and that is Mafia. I love Mafia. I've had some real bad Mafia books read this year, but generally, on the whole, I'm a big Mafia fan. So, this is the Queens and Monsters series by J.T. Geisinger. I think this is the best place to start Mafia. I know a lot of people are reading L.J. Shen at the moment, but she is a little bit darker on her Mafia side, and I just think this really eases you into the genre and you start to know what type of Mafia man you like. So you have Italian, you have Irish, you have Russian, sometimes there's Chinese. This book explores most of them, but the women are connected between the stories. There's kidnapping, there's like a hitman, you just get everything in this. I mean, the kidnapping one in the second story is so good. She is kidnapped by a man in the Irish Mafia and he wants to hand her back. Like, he is like, please someone take her back. She is too much work. And I absolutely adore this series. It's really good. The spice is great, but it isn't too dark. There isn't too much violence. I think a lot of people, whenever I've talked to them about maybe why they don't want to read Mafia or haven't picked up Mafia before, they often say to me, Mills, I don't really like James Bond or action-packed films, and why would I be interested in this? No. The way a Mafia man protects his woman, yearns for his woman, does everything for his woman is why you need to read Mafia. It's not for the action. Yeah, there's sometimes a little bit of violence, there's a gunshot, a kidnapping or something like that, but the way that he can yearn for his female, it just does something to my body. It's so good. So yeah, I would definitely recommend picking this series up if you are new to Mafia and you want to try it out. I also had read a lot of Mafia by the time I read this, but when I read it, I did think this is a very good introductory level Mafia series. So I've touched on the fact that dark romance normally has trauma weaved into the story, and that's where you kind of get a lot of the dark romance tropes from. There is one person who I will always recommend if you want trauma in your dark romance, and that is Jennifer Hartmann. These are 3 standalone books, but these are probably my 3 favourite, and they will make you cry, they will make you question things, but they're so good. So we have Still Beating. This is about a girl who goes on a night out with her sister. She thinks she's going to wake up with a hangover. She wakes up tied in a basement next to her brother-in-law. She doesn't know how she got there or how she's going to get out, and I love this book. I try not to reread these. We also have Older. This explores more of your age gap forbidden romance. It is her best friend's father who she starts to have a relationship with. She's got a traumatic past. He's not been around for a while. She didn't know who he was. A lot of people was like, how would she date him if she didn't know who he was? But she doesn't. Very, very good. Love this one. And then my favourite is The Wrong Heart. This woman's husband's passed away. He's on an organ donors list. His heart has gone to somebody else and she needs to find it. Like, she wants to know what's gone on with her husband. When you read this, the way it makes you feel is just, but dark romance can have trauma, so that's why I would say these are 3 really good standalones. I'm also going to tell you about my favourite trauma series next. Would it be an entry-level dark romance about talking about the Ravenhood series by Kate Stewart? I just don't think it can be. This was probably the first true dark romance I ever read, and I cried so much. I thought I was going to throw up. Like, I couldn't catch my breath. It was that good. This follows a girl who doesn't really know her father. She hasn't really had much of a relationship with him, and he contacts her out of the blue to say, come and live with me, come and work for me for a year and you can have your inheritance. And in any kind of dark romance setting, they're always doing it for somebody else, not themselves and their own gains. And she's like, yeah, I need to do this. My mum needs money. She's not doing it for herself, like I said. And then she meets Sean and Dominic, who are part of this Ravenhood group. It's kind of like a Robin Hood vigilante. They steal from the rich and give to the poor. I've never felt trauma like this. It does explore some taboo, slight why choose situation, but yeah, it will break you, and I don't know if you'll survive. So that brings me to the end of my introductory dark romance video. If you enjoyed it, do make sure you give it a like and do comment which ones you have read in the little comment section below. I'll definitely do an intermediate and an advanced. I'm scared to do the advanced one, and I will post those over the next couple of months as well. Do make sure you have subscribed and turned on notifications. You're notified when I post every Sunday, and I hope you have a lovely Sunday. Bye, book lovelies.